Novo Nordisk is among the companies that have reported earnings this morning. The world's biggest maker of insulin said profit came to more than 4 billion kroner for the second quarter. That was just shy of estimates, but still 16% up on last year. The company also lifted its full-year sales and profit outlook. Well, let's now get more with the Chief Financial Officer, Jesper Brandgaard. He joins us from Bagverd, close to Copenhagen. Thank you so much for joining us on The Move. In terms of, the general economic environment, it must be more difficult for companies in general also to get acquisitions or spending from governments. Are you going to feel the pinch as we drive further and further into austerity and possibly a double-dip recession here in Europe?
We've clearly seen an impact in Europe from the austerity measures. We've had healthcare reform in major markets like Spain, Germany, and other markets, and I think we will expect that will continue through 2011 and into 2012 as the governments try to deal with the deficit problems that they have in their spending structure.
And in such a competitive market, how much pressure is it on you to keep low prices, and how much can you realistically raise prices in difficult markets such as the US but also Europe?
Well, it's challenging. What we are trying to do is to bring forward continued new products which can offer better treatments, and through that basically protect the pricing points we have. But for the older version products like our Human-Insulin, we are feeling a clear tendency towards lower prices in the major markets.
I want to ask you a little bit about your earnings, because you've missed estimates on both top line and bottom line, but raised your full-year forecast for both. So what's going on here? Are you expecting a catch-up?
Well, there is a little bit of technical element that in the US we have been facing some uncertainty as to when we would have generic competition for a tablet for diabetes treatment we have over there. That's now probably been deferred to 2012, and as a consequence of that we are able to upgrade our earnings estimate. But we're also seeing a better sales of Victoza, our novel protein treatment for diabetes, and there we're seeing very strong growth. In fact, we more than tripled our sales in the second quarter compared to last year of Victoza.
And in terms of your pipeline, are there any markets that are giving you especially trouble? For example, insulin is becoming a more and more crowded market. How difficult is it to compete for that drug?
Well, it is difficult in the major markets. There are three very intense competitors in the market, and we are seeing, especially in the human segment, some more intense price competition than what we've seen historically. Our response to that is trying to invent better forms of insulin. We intend to file in the second half of this year for approval of a new generation of insulin, a long-acting one that provides patients with 24-hour blood sugar control and a very low risk of getting the most unwanted side effects in insulin treatment, which is too low blood sugar levels. So it looks very promising in terms of upgrading our overall portfolio.
Overall, do you think you're actually too reliant on certain of your drugs? I know Victoza has been, a stellar performer. Does that mean that it's going to be a struggle for the other categories?
It's still only approximately 1% of patients in the developed markets who are on a product like a GLP-1. So there's plenty of growth opportunities. But in terms of value, this is a major opportunity. We are today seeing around 5% of the value in the diabetes markets coming from a GLP-1 like Victoza. And we believe that there's opportunity to take that to around 10%. And we've actually achieved that level in a market like France, where we only launched a bit over a year ago. So I think there are great opportunities for actually expanding the value for the GLP-1s without really hurting the insulins.
Mr. Brandgaard, we started the interview by talking about how much more governments are going to cut spending. When do you expect a normalization of the situation? When do you expect us to be over all these troubles, be it in the US and Europe? Are we talking a year and a half, and until then, will you just be very cautious?
I think it's a very different situation between US and Europe. Whereas in US we have a major implementation of a healthcare reform in 2010-11, and that's more or less fully implemented, and I won't expect major changes to that in 12. Whereas in Europe it's more a country-by-country situation, and I would expect new measures to materialize in 11 and 12, so that's more going to be ongoing.
All right, thank you so much for your time, Mr. Jesper Brandgaard there, the Chief Financial Officer of Novo Nordisk.